Great. So we're going to have a quick recap, only quickly, of what we covered, and then we're going to get into nuts and bolts and go much bit deeper today. So this is the Thriving Bhakti program. So I'm going to talk for quite a while. There's not going to be that interactive until the end. So yeah. So let's buckle in. Let's focus. This is important time. I know we've got things happening in our lives, but I always say, if you can see yourself as an asset, have value, which means you see yourself having value. You're not into beating yourself up and having a negative self-image, because Krishna doesn't have a negative self-image of you. I'll leave Mahatma Das to sort you out when it comes to self-care, His Grace. So yeah, and a little bit about me, because this will go to persons who are not present or weren't at the Otaki retreat. But my name is Badra Sain. I'm from the UK, and I've just been practicing Krishna. Well, yeah, trying to practice Krishna consciousness since about 2000. So it's about 24 years, and yeah, I've been in New Zealand, and I did a lot of years managing the Loft Yoga Lounge here as the manager, board member. I been running a contemporary Vedic ashram for about 12 years. So I've had in the trenches experience, making mistakes, getting things right, building that growth mindset on how to help young men come to Bhakti, stabilize in Bhakti, and hopefully go the distance in Bhakti on the ground level, not just like distributing prasadam and books, but actually living with guides. So I've had a lot of realizations through and seen the material challenges. I've seen the mental, emotional, physical challenges that a lot of devotees go through on their way to Krishna, so to speak. So that's my background. And I want to, first disclaimer is I have no doubt that 99% of all Hare Krishnas or whatever how they're practicing are sincere. I'm not questioning sincerity here, but I think overall, if we can improve our competency in our movement in general, if we can create competency in all areas of our lives, it's a winning combination. And that's how a society sustains itself, grows and expands, is by having competency as well. So just because someone isn't competent doesn't mean they're not sincere. And Krishna's looking for sincerity. But for practical reasons and for living in this world, if we can increase our competency, better ourselves, improve our skill sets, improve our communication, improve our relationships, improve the way we handle ourselves, how we take Krishna's instructions in chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, how to handle the ups and downs of this world, it's definitely going to help us. That's definitely going to make our journey easier, because a lot of devotees, and obviously we're in the material world, the material world is going to overwhelm us externally. Sometimes within a marriage, it's overwhelming. Having children can be overwhelming, right? Beautifully overwhelming, by the way. And there's a purpose behind all our suffering. So we don't want to get into this fanatical, well, I don't want kids and work and all that because it's hard. No, it's about understanding why we do hard, because everything is hard in the material world. Ultimately, you just choose your hard, right? So there's practical things. Working today, the economic climate, dual working families, kids going through phases, sickness, devotees with sicknesses, carrying baggage in from previous experiences in our lives, from childhood traumas, not good relationships with our dads and mums and things like that. This affects us, and it really it can help trying to be a devotee to be quite overwhelming. And generally all those experiences are prior to Krishna consciousness and coming in. When we come in, now we've got a whole set of standards added to our already challenging life, chanting our rounds, rising in the morning, and reading and attending all the festivals. We've got expectations of ourselves. We have high expectations. It's quite a lot to take on, and we get overwhelmed. So the purpose of Thriving Bhakti is I'm not getting into philosophy. I'm not going to get into reading Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just getting into just how can we make that transition to become more of a resilient and thriving sadhaka? How can I grow myself by growing my thinking and learning practical, success habits and skill sets? How's that going to really help me in the journey that I'm on? And I believe, and I've seen, and it's helped me and so many devotees, make that transition from being totally overwhelmed and struggling, feeling stuck, in some area of their journey, and to become unstuck and just keep growing and learning. Yeah. Um, these are some of the common phrases we hear. Um, that in the minds, maybe some of these resonate, or to some degree in your own mind. I want to be a pucker devotee, but it's too hard right now, right? And we repeat, repeat, repeat. Yes, one day in the future, when life is going to get easier, then I'll get my reading sorted. So, these are excuses that our mind tells us, and puts us in, and we may have genuine struggles. I mean, yeah, I do, but does it mean we can't build our resilience, think differently, become more solution orientated, and start making small incremental moves to actually prove that actually you don't have to be stuck. You can do something, you know? If you believe you can't, you can't. If you believe you can, you can. You're both right. Remember that quote? We'll see it a bit later. It's only special devotees. I love this one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, these are special devotees, Adhikar, previous life. They were yogis. I don't know. I would say if you've come from a stable background and you've come from good parenting and you've come from you've grown up in a good environment, your chances, you are going to be more together. You can see that. That's why generally the temples over the years and in cultivation, they go for the low hanging fruit, which is the Indians. They're already acclimatized to the culture. They've already grown up with some stability. But us Westerners, I'm not, by the way, I'm not trying to get into an Indian West thing here, but, I'm a Westerner, and the new generations coming through those Indian communities, whatever, are changing. But, we've got a bit of stuff to sort out. Do you think? We've got usually generally a lot more stuff. I'm not saying Indian devotees don't have their struggles, and some, they all come from, not all of them come from perfect backgrounds, but they have less challenges generally, and mainly, and I've had very, very cultured Indian men live in my ashram, and I've had very wrecked, Western men live in my ashram, and it's a lot easier to deal with. they're all emotionally, and their thinking and their mental states are a lot more together. And when your mind is more together and you're more emotionally settled, it's easy to practice anything better, isn't it? Does that make sense to everyone? Cool. So one day in the future, life will get easier. Yep. It's only special devotees who can cultivate and give classes, and it's just for those special devotees, right? This is this is what I was quoting. Yeah, and for those who are new to or hearing this on the replay, this is all going to be like this. It's all about the thinking. If you think you can get your sadhana together, can get out of this problem, I can get unstuck, then you can. If you think you can't, well, you can't, because we're going to discover how the brain works. The brain follows your direction. If you want your brain to find more reasons why not you can't do something, then your brain will fill up with amazing amounts of excuses like these ones. You didn't invent these, the brain did, the mind did, right? So this is key. We're going from your thoughts, create your words, create your actions. I have to remind myself this all the time when I'm somewhere in here. Oh, I want to change me. I don't like the way I am. Okay. Yeah, so I have to go back to how I think about myself. Oh, my actions aren't in alignment with my values. What's the thinking that's getting in the way? Let's get back to the thinking. So I'm not going to get into Shastra, but as we know, Manmana Mad Bhakto, it's all about thinking. When you think of me, whatever you think of at the time of death, thinking, thinking, thinking. When Krishna chastises Arjuna for stinking thinking, right? You're talking like a learned man, but your thinking's out. You're off, right? It wasn't what he was doing, he was thinking. So this is what we're all about, the mind, right? Okay, and that of course shapes your destiny. So it's interesting that cascade of dominoes there. Often we didn't think about this, and this is what I find a lot of devotees there, and myself, often we're getting into emotional states, we get into all kinds of habits and getting stuck all the time, but we're often not trying to help ourselves get out of that thinking. And we're going to have strategies and thoughts today. How do I get out of stinking thinking? Okay, that's what you're here for. So this guy thinks in a certain way, right? What advice would you give him? You'd have to tell him to think better about eating, get him to think differently, get some help, get some perspective. What's coaching all about? What's mentorship about? It's about getting perspective, hearing from someone who thinks differently to you, right? Who's seen things and give you perspective. This is gold, and I've got podcasts on this, on how this is the most underutilized resource that we have materially and in the Hare Krishna movement, even in the outside world. We don't grow up learning about how mentorship and advice is really important. You have to tell him how to think about getting some good habits. And then you got this guy who's an Olympian. Would you have to get him to think about these things that I've highlighted here? Do some exercise, stop smoking, get some good habits. No, his manifestation of his success is he's already changed his thinking. He's already understood, if I'm going to become an Olympian, if I'm going to be successful, if I'm going to obtain love of Krishna, spiritual Olympian, right? Then I have to change how I eat. Prasadam, and also healthy prasadam as we get older. This is a talk I had with Guru Aranya about. You don't have to tempt him. He knows he's got to have a regimen. He's disciplined. He's got to take setbacks. He's got to get up when he doesn't feel like it. This is a mentality between this guy and this guy. Two different outcomes, right? So their level of self-belief is also different. Because generally, this kind of lifestyle, I can't chant, what's the point? Might as well go back to watching movies, might as well we start going down the pub again, I don't know. That's behind that is a certain level of self-belief and self-value. See, for people to succeed highly in anything, they've got a certain level of commitment and self-belief, isn't it? So again, coming back to some of the reasons, and that's why we have devotees even in our community here in New Zealand, Krishna Loka, Krishna Gopinath, they're doing therapies, material subtle body therapies to help devotees overcome negative self-beliefs and programs, right? True? Yeah. So we've got to address those things. It's like Lord Chaitanya, he cleans the Kandija temple twice, right? The gross stuff first and then the finer things. So you can take that in lots of ways, but that's we do have to, as we mature in bhakti, start looking at the subtle things going on within us that we need to address that could be getting in the way of our progress. But I think you get the idea. The mindset is the shift, and we can see here with some of the qualities of the King Prataparuja, which we talked about. You can hear in the full version of the presentation in Otaki in December 31st, how he was persistent to see Lord Chaitanya. He was willing to do anything to get the darshan of the Lord, and with all setbacks, he was relentless and persistent as a mindset. Yeah, he had his eyes on the prize. Srila Prabhupada here, this is League of Devotees. This is when he just tried stuff. He was like, well, what am I going to do? I've got to spread Christian consciousness on the order of my spiritual master. I'll go here and I'll set up a League of Devotees. He just tried something. A lot of the times we're just stuck thinking of when's going to be the right time to start anything. When's the perfect situation to start correcting my habits? Again, that when things are right in the future, then I'll do the right thing. I'll start something, right? But Prabhupada just tried something for 1 year, if I remember rightly. And he made one devotee. And then he moved on, right? But he had this mindset. Of course, I'm talking about Prabhupada in a way that we can relate to, but obviously he's not an ordinary person. But he had that spiritual, pure mindset of whatever it takes, I'll get the job done. I'll try this, I'll try that. And that's the kind of mindset we're going to need. Parenting's like that, right? Dasam Rita's here. It's like, yeah, we've tried this, now he's like this, now let's try that. You're constantly, you got to have, you can get into this mindset as a parent. Oh, that worked. Now what are we going to do? Now he's changed and he's worked out our pattern of getting him to do what we want when he gets to bed or whatever, right? They work things out, right? When you have kids. But then you've got to go, okay, what are we going to do now? How can we change this up? So it's all about keeping it positive. Susukham kartam abhivyam. Susukham. not dukkam. We've got to somehow, we have a responsibility, and smart materialists know this, to keep our mind away from going down that negative, accepting that that's the default. We've got to bring it back to the positive. And this is Prabhupada with his pharmaceutical businesses, that he tried and tried and tried. He traveled, he did a lot of austerity. He had several pharmacies and things going on, didn't he, with his business, and it all failed, apparently. But out of adversity, a great thing arises. The doors close. He was having to support a family. Everything collapsed, but then opened the door. He realized the Lord wants to use me in a different way. And he went on, and he talks about this later in his life, how Krishna and him had an argument, and he wanted him to become a poor man, but actually he was a rich man. So here we see it's a mindset issue, right? This is a great diagram. You can get it online. This is the default, the general way, your primitive, negative, lower self part of the brain, however you want to word it. This is the mind, lower mind. This is how it generally operates. It's very primitive. It's all about fear, anxiety, protection. Yeah. So it's all about fear of failure. I'm no good. It's all, it's all about competitiveness. So very primitive. But then we have this other side to us. You can look at it as a brain idea, a mind idea, or lower self, higher self. It's all about growing and learning. Do you notice how the growth mindset's very conducive and really aligns with being a spirit soul? Isn't it? And how the fixed mindset's very much sort of like the conditioned soul. That's how I kind of see it. Always doing new things for Krishna. Always inspired by the success of others as well, right? This is very sort of mode of goodness, isn't it? I can learn to do anything I want. My son's going through this phase right now. I pointed it out. He was saying, I can't do this. He was riding his bike around the garden here, and I was teaching him to fire one of these little plastic bullets into like Arjuna firing into a target, and he kept missing, and because he had to use one hand to ride the bike, and he couldn't keep his balance. So I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, put yet on the end. Not yet. Oh, okay, I can't do it yet. Great. So how are you going to do it? Just keep practicing. It's a skill set, I said. Anyone can learn a skill set, and now he can do it. So we got to be careful what we transmit to our kids as well. We don't want to transmit this language to our children. We want this one. So it's this shift. If we, remember going to those domino effects, the actions, the habits, the character, these issues, we've got to come back to how we think. So this is a brand of mine, entrepreneurs. We're spiritual entrepreneurs. Like, we want to think like that. And these are the characteristics of that thinking. Being willing to be consistent and persistent despite setbacks. You've got to love, like Jocko, right? In that movie that everyone loved. Good. Yeah. It's even though you may fake it, just say it. Good. It kind of, you feel the brain trying to go, what's going on here? What aren't we supposed to go down a hole and feel sorry for ourselves, have a pity party? Aren't we supposed to just kind of like wallow and just resign ourselves to the situation? No, good. So you understand, you've got to beat the brain. You've got to make friends with the brain, but not allow the brain, like a child, to take, or the mind to take control. No, it's good. It's good. So you have to become your best cheerleader. You've got, it's when we leave this call, what you do is just you and your brain, or you and your mind. And you've got to come to terms with that. Even if you've got to, you can have your closest people around you, but what's going on up here is really, up to you and how you're handling it. You can't ignore it. That's my point. You've got to be solution orientated. I mean, I'm being really honest and transparent. I was a real whinging pom. My wife will tell you, we whinge and moan about everything. It's the old English, the weather. So my mum and dad, and I realized, actually, where did I get that from? So I started thinking, it's from my mum and my dad, always moaning, oh, this and that, and this at work, and the kids pick it all up. That's the scary thing about parenting is, if you're saying all those things, your kids are picking it up. Don't worry, they're soaking it all up. That's the legacy, remember? So this mindset is what the Thriving Bhakti program, what I help devotees do, or devotees can go away and find a way to do it themselves. So again, that's that thoughts has a total impact on our destiny, even materially. Right? So what happens after any presentation, like the one at Otaki or any you could seminar you go to? I'm sure Krishna Das goes to nursing seminars and presentations, right? Or education or motivation, or it's what actually happens. What I've noticed, it's just me, but it happened to me is often, we're really hyped up. We learned a lot of new things, but then over about a month, you can't even remember, you know. They invest all this money in you to go, and the reason that happens is because there's got to be a program to follow up. And the reason, I think, one of the main reasons we don't follow up with these seminars and presentations and stuff like that, or even Bhagavatam classes or whatever, is because we're quite overwhelmed already in life. It's like, oh, so much to do today. And then you get to the end of the day, it's like, what was that Bhagavatam class about this morning? Right? And that's going to happen. But if you have some intentionality and you have some ingredients of how to apply and not overwhelm yourself with I'm not here to give you a program like, oh, not another program, not another book, all these things to do. No, it's about understanding why is it. Take ordinary successful people like Jocko, or as a Navy SEAL, or Elon Musk, and these kinds of people have been very successful in life. It's just they actually just do very simple things despite circumstances. What separates successful people in actually applying what they're learning and growing, and separates people who stay what they would say was called average, is things that are easy to do but easy not to do. They're easy things, but they're easy not to do. So these ingredients here in the Thriving Bhakti, these ingredients, and by the way, from this presentation, if you can just take these away and develop yourself in these 3 areas, and it's an evil, remember, don't get a fixed mindset. Once I've got my mindset down, once I know my goals, things are always changing, evolving. It's like playing music. You never get to the end. But if you can become more expert with your mindset, if you can be more understand the nature of goal setting and making that easy, and then having accountability, these ingredients, you will get better in whatever area you put these 3 together. You see, you can have the right mindset, but if you don't know where you're heading, okay, it's just a kind of mental dream, right? But if you have a great mindset and you know what you want and you know where you're heading and you can break that down and move towards it, that's awesome. But the problem is you may know the goal now and you may have the mindset, but if you're not accountable to someone, yourself or group, then you'll just get distracted, right? Unless you're very, like Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita, there are these yogis that even if there's no devotees around, they could become Krishna conscious. There are rare persons, exceptions to the rule, who could actually, by their own volition, like got David Groggins and these kinds of very elite athletes and power people. They're very rare people who are self-motivated, self-driven, self-mentoring, really relentless. They're very rare. But for most, I think most of us on this call here, I'm not like that. So it's important that we accountability is there. So these 3 ingredients, whatever you do, if you never come in contact with Thriving Bhakti again, just remember every day, if you can build your mindset, if you can make clarity around your goals and where you're heading, and then you're accountable, you track that. Are you moving and checking in with yourself or someone else or then your probabilities increase hundreds of times, right? In the Thriving Bhakti program that we're going to go through now is, I'm going to go a little bit more into those mindsets now. So that first ingredient, positive growth mindset, right? So what we do hearing positive, reading something that grows your mindset, changing beliefs and perspectives. That means addressing noting, even if that takes some kind of help, counseling, professional help. Try to understand what's going on with my thinking. What's my self-talk? There's loads of great resources out there on YouTube, online, about how to address perspectives and things. I'm just going to bring up, I've got another document I wanted to bring up. Let's see if I can get it going. But yeah, so growing your mindset, your positive mindset, that's something you can do. Just got a document I wanted to share some points on. Where are you? There we are. I'm going to go here. Oh, there we are. This is the one. This is the document I want. So, mindset. Yeah. So, helping yourself move from the fixed to the growth mindset, and yeah, addressing your thinking, having daily, of course, reading Krishna's pastimes, reading about things is actually the ultimate way of keeping your mind positive. But when they have that conditioned mind coming in and is catching that mind where you haven't got that attraction for Krishna's pastimes yet. You don't have that full absorption, and you have a mind that's really negative, negative self-talk, negative ways of. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, have you ever been around devotees? You've been and you're around devotees who are very positive, and sometimes you're around devotees who are very, very negative, right? So critical, these kinds of things. So we have a responsibility, and Krishna wants us to change those things. And man proposes, God disposes, means that Krishna knows if you're serious about doing that or not. You know what I mean? You've got to be intentional in your growth. This is one thing growth is not automatic. I think sometimes we've had this conception that, well, I'm doing my rounds, I'm reading, I'm just going to change. But you have to be intentional in your growth. It's an action book. And it's like, if you're going to make a loaf of bread, you need, vegan egg mix, whatever that is. You need your flour, your water, your butter, and I don't know what else is. Sugar. You've got those ingredients. Now, if you follow a recipe and you have all those ingredients and you put it in a bread maker or in the oven, you automatically get bread. Right? True. But you have to have these ingredients. You have to know the ingredients. You have to know the manual. You have to follow the procedure. And then you automatically. That's why we have the idea of the 10 offenses. There's these ingredients that's required. It's not that you can just mechanically practice bhakti. There will still be effect. It'll just be very, very slow. But you won't automatically get your cake. Does that make sense? That's what it means Prabhupada means when you automatically you'll become Krishna conscious. Just by chanting Hare. There are a lot of younger devotees, yeah, well, you just chant Hare Krishna and that's it. Meanwhile, do whatever you want, Prabhupada used to do that. I've done my 16 rounds, now I can do what the hell I like. So we have to take ownership. Jocko, all of us, everyone on this screen, you are responsible. You've got to take 100% ownership for your journey here. So developing your personal power and capacity, this is really key. I mean, you've got to learn to grow yourself and put yourself into uncomfortable situations to grow yourself. You can't grow in safety and comfort. Prabhupada never considered his own comfort, right? Now, we can't imitate, but we emulate, right? So we have to be mindful while we're doing our back. Am I actually stretching myself a little? I'm not about stressing yourself, and we'll talk about stressing and stretching. So, like I do things like I'm going to be doing singing a Holly, right? I'm not really a singer, but I sing at the moment. I've tried. And I could say to myself, well, you're no good at singing, you shouldn't do it. I'm going to sing at Holly in probably 5,000 people minimum, which is pretty scary. And I did it last year. But I did it to put myself out of my comfort zone. Now I'm 53. I'm not really into the fame, believe me. But I did it because I just thought I haven't done it before. I never believe I could do that, but I'm going to do it. And I don't know if you've stood in front of 5,000 people before and you're not really a great singer and you're hoping they're going to like it. It's pretty scary. Even the keyboard player, those two young kids who we've hired, they're like 18. They were having shaking before they went on. I was looking at them and thinking, oh my God. So what I'm getting at, I'm always trying to put myself out of my comfort zone. Just small things, and that can be, simple things like going and do Toastmasters, public speaking, or it could be doing a sport you've never done before, or going out on the streets and doing some books if you've never done it before, and just easing your way. Maybe just go and do 1 minute of books. It's all about stretching yourself and conquering that mind that's making you believe the fixed mindset that you can't do that. You have to prove your mind wrong, but intelligently. All right. So that's really key. So I advise, if when you leave this presentation, what ways can you grow your mindset? Input, remember, reading books, working with people, or learning about how to take some of the beliefs, write down your beliefs, try to change them, affirmations, and also putting yourself into different situations to grow yourself. I've got Thrive in Bhakti podcasts. You can go on there. That helps your stinking thinking. It's, just me being me, nothing that it's quite a raw podcast, just talking about the stuff we're talking about here. And it kind of every day it reminds you what you should be doing. We have coaching calls in the Thriving Bhakti program. Every 2 weeks, we just have an hour coaching call. No stress, just 1 hour. We all come together and we share. But what I do 20 minutes of a mindset to reset their mind. I hear what's going on and I do 20 minutes and we get our mindset right so we can face the next week, because we want to work week to week towards our goals. All right? So this is called a mastermind. If you know Napoleon Hill, the second law of success is to have a mastermind, get around groups. Now, the second ingredient, remember the 3 ingredients is your why power. So yes, we want to become Krishna conscious. I want Krishna, yes, but then you have to come down to like, well, what's my reason for how I want to change? Of course, ultimately it's to please Guru and Gauranga, but your why power can become more focused as well. It's like, what is it you want to work towards that will excite you? I mean, some devotees, it can be, I just want to be able to chant 16 rounds at least a couple of times a week. I'm only sporadically chanting right now, and I'm just doing 3, then 4, then sometimes I just want to get more consistent. And I say to her, well, why? Why do you want that? How will you feel when you've done that? So I get them to visualize that they've done it. And there's got to be an emotional connection to the goal that you're trying to achieve. It can't just be a wish. It's got to be something you really want. I want to be a better devotee in this way. I want to have better communication. I want to get good at this, or I want to be able to finish the Bhagavatam by the end of the year. I'm really excited about that. And we learned from Tirtharaj Prabhu about SMART. Your goals have to be, does anyone remember the SMART? Specific, measurable. Oh, do you want to have Gauranya? Do you remember these? You can chime in.
Maybe I'll just SMART is specific, M is measurable, and A maybe accurate.
Achievable.
Oh, sorry, achievable. R, I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And T, time bound? No.
Time bound. Yes. Yeah, so you've got to be time bound. So you've got to, and we'll go more into detail into this in a minute, what we're doing now, but you've got to make sure that all your goals fit the SMART. Okay. So there's very specific. See, the brain needs direction. If your brain's thinking a certain way, you've got to direct it. And if you're not specific, if you're vague, it knows, right? Or maybe I'll go to the gym today. Maybe I'll go out on books. And then you realize you didn't go out. But if you say to your brain in the morning, we do a morning video in our accountability, say, hey, my top tasks today are this. I'm going to have my breakfast. I finish my breakfast, I finish my rounds, and at 1 p.m. I'm going to Mount Wellington to meet so-and-so to do books for 1 hour. Right? That's different than maybe I'll go out on books today. You already know when I said that, I'm probably not. But when I said specifically, I'm going at 1 o'clock to meet, I don't know, my wife Gitavali at the countdown, and we're going to do 1 hour books till 2 o'clock exactly, and we're not leaving till we've got it done. Are you all convinced? Are you more convinced that it's going to happen? So what do you, so that's the same with your brain. All your brains went, yeah, he's going to do that now. I believe that. I didn't believe the first one. So you've got to talk to yourself like that. Talk to your brain. And what we do with goals is you have the goal. So maybe it's in the next 6 months, I want to get my chanting to scratch. I want to have to, and then to scratch. What does scratch mean? Oh, I want, how many rounds do you want to be, is it, how many do you want to be chanting in the morning? How many are you going to be chanting in the day? Right. So maybe it's, I want to do 16 rounds all in one go in the next 6 months. So then you chunk it. Very important. You chunk down into sizes. You break it down. So say you're doing no rounds, and say in 6 months you want to be chanting 16. Well, obviously you can chunk that down into months. So 6 into 16, 2.5. I don't know, something like that. So you need to be doing it, going up at least 2.5 rounds per month. So then you do your first 30 days is I'm going to do 1 round for 1 week consistently. Second week, okay, I'm going to do 1.5 rounds. Third week, if you're consistent, you go up to 2 rounds, then up to 2.5 rounds. And then you maybe even outdo your goal. By the end of the 30 days, you're on 3 rounds a day consistently. So you chunk it down to your 30 days, you do 90 days, 30 days, and then you get down to, so then all you have to concentrate on is not getting to 16 now. It's like, I have 7 days to chant 1 round. I can do that. And it all begins with tomorrow. So then you just start tomorrow, 1 round. See, easy. You don't have to think of 16 anymore, because you know if you just do a week of 1, you're on the way and you're winning. So this is how you chunk down goals. You've got to make them doable, achievable. So set a high goal, chunk it down, and start with, well, what's the first week look like? Something simple. A great book to read if you want to master this, and this is where I get it all from, and he's the #1 author, and there's many books now out like, it's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's the Bible. You just read that book, you'll nail it. What we do in goal setting, and this is one thing I try to get devotees to do, is you've got to start dreaming a bit. Man proposes, God disposes. Krishna can't move a parked car. Okay? You know, we're not Bhajananandis, we're Ghoshtinandis, meaning we're actively engaged in Krishna's service, you know, adding value to ourselves, giving to others. We're not like the Python man by the side of the road. We want to dream. Prabhupada was dreaming of how to expand this movement, and we come down to a little us, and we want to be able to do something amazing too, to add to that little star in the sky of Prabhupada's movement, right? So I get devotees like, where would you like to be? Your top 10 things you'd like to have or to be as a person in your spiritual life. Could be like, I want to be a better husband, more reliable. I would, just dream a little bit in terms of your rounds, in terms of your preaching. It can be in terms of your income, where you'd like to be, visiting, you just write them down, put it on paper. And sometimes, that's a hard thing for a lot of us to do, growing up in a very fixed mindset world. Materially, we're not taught how to do these things. I think I said this at the retreat, that we are spiritually and materially disabled. We're dumbed down even to be materially successful today. And I tell you, I had a conversation with a guy from Texas yesterday, a couple. We were at the park, and he's from Texas, and his wife, and she's Mexican. He's Afro-American. And he was telling me, that in Texas and in America, he said, everyone's just dumbed down in the education system. You're not taught how to do anything, even your own budget, or understand anything, or tariffs, or So he was confirming what I'm saying. So we've got to build ourselves up materially, our competency. Prabhupada understood business really well. He understood the world really well. So what you can do is, when it comes to dreams, you chunk it. Oh, what shall I dream? What can I dream? Well, break it down. Again, remember, break things down. How would you like to improve your time management? How would you like to improve your self-care? Taking time to take care of you. Maybe that's part of your healing. Maybe you want to spend some time healing something about yourself, or just self-care in terms of sleep and energy. Me and Gauranya, had a consultation together, and I was telling him he needs to put some time in for self-care, some time to relax. How would you like to be with your health and fitness? Or believe me, there's a lot of unfit Hare Krishnas. A lot of unfit Hare Krishnas. I mean, look in the world outside there. I mean, most men I see out there, not talking about in Krishna consciousness, but might apply, is a lot of fat people. A lot of people who are overweight, bad posture, for whatever reason, no time, you see, to take care of themselves. You've got to be doing exercise every day, but that's a whole other topic. You need some kind of exercise. So health is really important, because if we're not very Krishna conscious and our health, mental health, physical health gets too acute, it's very hard to practice Krishna consciousness. I've had that experience, and I have that experience. But if and then, where do you want to be with your reading, your audios, just chunk everything down and dream a little bit. And what I say to do to begin, so your first goals, especially if someone comes in the program, I said, just take that one thing right now that's, if you change that one habit or that one struggle, it would be a game changer. Although you'd like all these others, what's the one right now that if you could in the next 90 days improve and develop and get better at, which one is that game changer? So here's the compound effect in a nutshell. I don't know, has anyone seen this before? Das Amrita? Yeah, Krishna Das has, okay. Yeah, would you like 1 cent that doubles every day for 30 days? So I'll give you 1 cent or 1 Pfennig. You're from Germany. No, it's euro now. Or 1 pence, whatever. Or I'll give you $3 million in cash right now. I'll just transfer it. Now, it's not a trick question. So say you went for the doubling of the coin every 30 days. So, you get 1 cent, or you get your 3 million and walk away. Yeah. And then 10 days have gone by. So you're a third of the way there of the doubling, and all you've got is $5, right? 7 days, a whole 64 cents. 2 weeks, you're halfway there, living on a prayer, obviously. $81. Who wants the 3 million cash? I mean, I would have taken 3 million cash, to be honest. Now, 20 days, 2/3 of the way there, 5,000, right? It's not, 25 days, okay, 167,000, right? It's not 3 million. The 28th day, well, nearly half, but it's not until the 29th, you're close to 3 million, but it's on the 30th day. This is a very important lesson, the compound effect. You see, you don't see results in the beginning. It's almost like you're going nowhere. It's like, what's the point? The different thing that when successful people understand the secret of the compound effect, right? If you can just be, and this is actually, you could apply this to Bhakti. If you just follow the regulative principles and chant your rounds attentively and avoid the 10 offenses, what happens? You think you're going nowhere, right? For a while. Really? 10 years, 20? But Krishna delivers, right? So you can apply this compound effect to everything. It's just, this is the separator. People quit. Prabhupada said the disease of the Westerners is they quit on everything. They don't stick to anything, right? Mode of passion. So it's a matter about setting your goal, knowing it's important, having the why, and then breaking it, chunking it, and then saying, what are the small, daily, consistent habits that I do that can fit in around my busy day, just 1 or 5 minutes here, whatever, that will move me towards that goal. And all I have to do is stick to it, and the result will come. But it won't come immediately. And this is key. Momentum is your friend. Yeah. Once you know what it's like, you start something and then, oh no, and you have a couple of days off, then you start again and you start again, and you start again. You never get momentum. So like, remember those playground, we used to have these playground things you used to stand on and you spin them and the kids jump on them and they fly off and they go to Krishna Das knows old school. They've got rid of them all. Now they've got safety ones everywhere with harnesses and seat belts and but there was these roundabouts that were really heavy actually, when I was a little kid and your feet were pushing the sand behind you and you're trying to get it going, right? You're just pushing and you're pushing and eventually there's a certain point of the weight of that playground roundabout thing, once it starts moving, it gets easier, doesn't it? And it's like the next minute you're just flicking it, right? Whew, whew, whew. And everyone's jumping on and getting injuries and broken arms, whatever. But that's apply that. If you once you've got momentum, it becomes your friend. So you don't want to quit. You want to be consistent and gradually it builds. And you can kind of say that's kind of like bhakti in one sense. Once you get to some momentum, you've got the habits, you're moving, the distractions and the wanting to stop gets less attractive and you see and you become it becomes easy, like ruchi and beyond a sakti, right? So that's really key. So what we do is we break down into core habits. This is a sheet from the Thrive Bhakti program where you got your japa, your audios. You write in here what your these are usually the key habits that most devotees who are struggling deal with. You know, rising times, getting to bed on time. This is a real tricky one, especially for families. Accountability, showing up in the accountability group, reading, yeah, and you just tick off. It's important that you show your brain, I did it. Right? I tick it. So I did my 2 rounds today and I did my one word of a book. Yay. You can start with I had one person start on one word. They really thought they couldn't get their reader. So just do one word for 1 week. And they tick, 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 tick. And they're like, yeah. I said, can you do two? Can you do 2 words or one sentence? You know? Eventually they were up to 30 minutes a month and an hour a month. So slowly. And so you just focus on and you track. This goes down to 30 days. You track your 30 days and say there's crosses. It's okay. Put crosses. I didn't do it. That means you probably overstepped the amount that you can start on and you just come down a bit and you start again and you reset and you start a little bit more easy. Okay, so that's around goal setting, and I put the compound effect in there because when you're doing your goals and your dreams, and then you break it down, you've then got to come down to like little things every day that you're going to do to move yourself forward. Like I don't do hours in the gym. I just go to the gym for half an hour 4 times a week. It's not about doing huge amounts and doing a whole lot of things on one day. It's about just little things every day. That's ingredient one. Ingredient two. Now the very important one is, and this is part of the accountability, these tracking sheets, how to make it happen every day. So you don't want to get into the stress zone. So here's something to take away. How do you know if something's in the stress zone or not? Well, you ask yourself. Give you an example. If you are not chanting, say you're doing 2 rounds a day and you want to get back to your 16, and I sit with you and you say, well, what shall I do? When do you want to get to 16? Well, I want to get there in 6 months. So I said in the next 90 days, then the next 3 months, halfway, you want to be to 8 rounds. So in 6 months, you want 16 rounds. In 3 months, you want to have 8 rounds a day consistently. Yeah. And you're on 2 right now. So I said, well, why don't we start at 6? Let's do 6 rounds in the first week, because we're going to break that 90 days into 30, 30, 30. So your first 30 days to 8 rounds from 2 will be probably going up 2 at a time, right? 4, 6, 8. And I say to him in the first week of his first 30 days, do 6. And I know that devotee will probably, you just say to him, how about doing 6 a day? Can you do 6 a day? And I get them to feel what it's like, to imagine themselves. And I say, is that feeling like a stretch or are you feeling a little stressed? Oh, I'm feeling a bit stressed. 5. Yeah, still a bit too much. 4. Getting 3. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can do 3 rounds. Yeah. So you got to find that stretch zone, right? And you might not get it right. That's okay. So whatever your goal is to read or to do, when you come down to like breaking it down, you can feel whether it's a stretch or a stretch. You don't want to stress yourself out. You want to be in the stretch zone though, which is different. Does that make sense to everyone? You are the judge of whether something's a stress or a stretch. You'll know. And by the way, you may set the goal thinking it was a stretch and it became a stress. Don't get all heady about it. Say, okay, now I need to reset, and I need to reset that daily habit to a level that is just stretching me a bit. Like moving people's clocks so they go to bed early, for instance. Some devotees are going to bed at midnight, right? And I say, well, could you go to bed 15 minutes earlier? Or and if I say, can you go to bed at 10 p.m.? Oh, that's 2 hours. That's too much. Okay, half an hour. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do half an hour. So for the first 30 days, move your clock back 30 minutes. And yeah, and they get to the end of that 30 days and they win most of the time, maybe a few crosses. Okay, now we can move on. Now you're consistent. The next 30 days, let's move another half hour. But for someone else, it may be 15 minutes every 30 days. You know what I mean? It's all about long term, changing the habit, making it sustainable. So when you do change, it stays. A lot of people change and then it drops. People lose weight and then they gain it because they're not approaching it in the right way. Is this helpful? So we have, and you can do this yourself, we have these tracking sheets. This is Mike. He's now Padma Sutta. He's initiated. He used to live with us. He's now married in Wales. He's been on the program for 3 years. He uses it in all areas of his life, his business, his relationships. It doesn't have to just be for devotional things. So he was tracking. And the good thing about the tracking is it doesn't lie. Imagine getting to the end of your first 30 days. How are you going to remember what happened? I think I did my rounds. I think I did pretty, yeah, I think I did pretty well. I think the first week, here's your records, mate. This is the real thing. Yeah. And it's not about looking back and going, oh, it's 70% crosses and going, I'm a bad person. Oh my God, I'm no good. Why should I continue? It's like, okay, what have I learned? I actually did a little more than I usually do. I didn't hit the target, but that's okay because now I can do another 30-day and I can build on that win. Now I can reset my habits in a more realistic way. So when people come on the Thriving Bhakti program, I want them to make mistakes in the first 30 to 90 days. But people don't understand the goal is what pulls you. It's not necessarily that you achieve it. It's a passing through point and it's something that pulls you. Here's a devotee from Savitri. She in the evening we do a video in the morning. So in the morning we set our intentions. You can do it yourself. You can talk into the mirror. Hey, Navagori here. Good morning. Nice to see you. Hello, Krishna. Hello, Spiritual Master. My top intentions today are this. This is what I'm going to do. And you have a positive attitude. You say it positively and you speak it into your life. We do that on a video to the group, right? Not to show off, but to show up. And it also builds confidence. A lot of people are very, hi, Navagori here. Seems a bit strange. But after 30 days or 2 months, devotees are coming in, they're confident, they're building their self-esteem. I'm here, and they're getting used to it. And then in the evening, we do a debrief. So it's good in the evening, if you have a journal, to write down, how was my mindset today? Okay, it's a bit tricky, bit of a bad morning, had a bit of an argument with the missus, set me back a little bit, but I picked myself up, all good, right? What did I learn from my reading? So there's a difference between reading and reading with the intent to apply something. So I always say, whatever you read, take something from it and see if you can apply it throughout your day. That is a game changer. We don't want to be walking Bhagavatam sets, walking libraries. Right? You want to be someone who applies, right? Not necessarily apply well, but you try to apply, right? Did I complete my top actions? So we list our actions here, 16 rounds, and you basically just copy and paste this, or you can do it in your journal. So this person was doing 1 hour. She wanted to get up to an hour. She wasn't doing an hour when she came on the program. She'd been in the program for 6 months. She's learning some slokas. You set your goals, main top intentions for the day, and then below, if she didn't do her alternative education, so she just put a cross. And then what you do is, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a yogi plans in advance what to do with his senses. So the night before, okay, today, okay, I didn't do my rounds, didn't do that, but I got most done. What went wrong and what can I do better tomorrow to move that needle forward? Growth mindset, positive mindset. So this is accountability. This is a bhakta that never moved into a temple, but he became a devotee through a couple of programs that I run, my 21-day challenges, and then he became a devotee through Ramakun's program in Melbourne. So yeah, how was his mindset? He's got asana practice, listen to a kirtan, could be going to the gym, could be 5 minutes reading, and just checking in, And he wasn't smiling when he first came on the program. So these are the ingredients. That's basically, coming to the end of the presentation in terms of mindset, goals, accountability. Take it these away. This is how you can even chat GBT these different things, how to apply these things if you want to do it that way. Okay. So this last 5-10 minutes is just really about where you want to go from here. Okay. So I'm not sure this is something I write. You don't have to read this, but I follow this because I do other programs as well. I say, I'm not sure exactly why you showed up. I'm sure you showed up because you want to learn something, but maybe you're a bit frustrated or unhappy with your current sadhana. And maybe you haven't got some results you want. Maybe you're just confused. You just want some help to move forward in some areas. Or maybe you just stumbled across the training. A couple of people had stumbled across it, but they didn't show up. Maybe you're just bored. Just joking. Just want to hang out with me. Maybe. I don't know. So the Thriving Bhakti program, it works. I've been running it for 3 years now. I haven't had anyone not grow and develop themselves in this program at all. And that's from older persons, family persons, ex-brahmacharis. I had a brahmachari on here. He used the program so he could get out on the streets and distribute sets of books. That was his goal, to increase his preaching. It can transform your spiritual habits and quality of life. I believe that if you've been on this call up to this point, then you have what it takes because you've stuck it out. You realize this is important. And this is something you can get started with right now. That's the great thing about the program. Nothing I've shared with you here today is theory. I'm not going to prolong this webinar of like how I got to learn all these things, how I know all these things, but these are the things. What's on this program are things that are proven to work. That's what for decades, hundreds of years, is what people do who are successful. And it's not because they're special. Often we're thinking successful people are special. They're not. They're just persons who figured these things out either on their own or through influences or life happening to them. They figured out this is the way you make things happen. Okay. This is exactly what I've done in my life to generate great daily habits for myself as well. I am a family man. I run a contemporary ashram. I have to deal with troubles and uplifting 4 to 6 men every day who live here, plus dealing with my wife and my son and helping the loft. So I'm 53. I've grown. I haven't used my age as an excuse to do less. I've used my getting around and learning these things has helped me grow in all areas. I've helped dozens of other devotees achieve these results, and it doesn't matter whether you're young, old, rich, poor, educated. These things haven't. Anyone can learn a skill set. As long as they have a certain level of mental and physical capacity, anyone can learn these things. So there's one thing you can take away. I've literally given you all the ingredients you need for great habits. And in order to show anyone how to achieve success, and this has literally changed my world, and I'm really excited. I've actually going to arranging a Zoom call with Mahatma Das to talk about this program, hopefully. And It is very much a simple program, and this is key, the word simple, because I know everyone on a call like this, so much services, so much to be done, so much going on in life, my job, this and that, life changes. Um, and you can transform yourself into the type of devotee you really want to be. Because I think, we don't want to have this idea that I've kind of reached where I'm at and plateauing. So here's a little share. I don't know if I shared this
Hare
before.
Krishna, everyone. My name is Jade. I'm part of the Thrive and Bhakti program created by Bhadra, and I just want to kind of show you what my progress has been so far and to tell you that it actually works. I've just completed my first 30 days of the program, and I just can't get enough how much I've changed within the past 30 days and how much I've been able to grow and learn and achieve. So, if you're on the fence about joining, or you've been feeling like your sadhana has really taken a turn, or you're just struggling, really highly recommend to join the program for at least the first 30 days, and just see for yourself how much you've changed. And Bhadra, he creates such a warm and welcoming community that supports you at every step. So yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone.
So Jade went on to move into the Brahmachari ashram in Melbourne, where he's still there in Melbourne right now. He won't mind me mentioning, but he had some very difficult material struggles outside of his practices, and was bouncing back and forth, coming back and forth, and it really helped him because really it's about if you can change you and how you are and how you think about yourself, then you can change everything. When you change things externally without changing yourself, after a certain amount of time, it kind of crumbles. Have we all had that experience? So the obvious question is, how are you going to apply this formula for developing the spiritual habits you want? Well, you have a choice, and it's cool. You can do it the slow way or on your own through trial and error, by taking some of what I've given here today, which is awesome. And some people are, good at doing that. They can go away and apply these things, or you can do the easy way and the quicker way by using program itself, which he was talking about. So what is a Thrive in Bhakti membership program? Well, it has all the three key ingredients formulated to guarantee you to get the results you want. This program is designed to take you by the hand, by achieving the success, getting your daily spiritual habits, the knowledge, the thinking, and support, so you know exactly how and what to do. And I think you saw we just have coaching call, we check in, but the day to day is building you. I'm part of the Bhakti Sai Bhakti program is that I'm not your I'm building you to take care of yourself. I'm not there to solve all your problems. I help you solve your problems, basically. And this Sai Bhakti program is the quickest, most effective way of getting from A to B. Because if you want to go from here to here, what's the quickest way? That's why I, spend time investing in the Thrive Bhakti program outside of my other businesses and responsibilities that I have. So what exactly is it? As I mentioned before, it has all the three key ingredients that makes your journey easy to implement. And it's literally all you need. There's nothing left outside of the program. As you say, we cover all the three areas. But it has there is a subscription, and there's reasons why I have subscriptions. One, I have back end costs. Two, I have to take time out of my traditional business. Three, I also persons who come on the program, if I'm going to invest time into them, when they've invested, then they value it. I've noticed when I've done things for free, the level of commitment and the level of type of people that come into the program are not the type of people or devotees I want to work with long term. I'm just being honest. I look for people who are really serious and really want to move forward in life, and they've got that they can see the value. I do one-to-one coaching here. I mean, you could hire a life coach or personal self-development. I think some of even the healing programs out there and subtle body healing and tapping, that costs hundreds of dollars, and it adds up after 20 sessions to thousands of dollars. But just my one-to-one coaching, I do $130 an hour in my to non-devotees. Do you know how much time and energy it took to prepare? So there's a lot behind what I do. I'll just find the next one. Oh yeah, over here. Okay, so it's not going to cost a couple of thousand, it's not going to cost thousands, not even 500. The complete program itself that I charge per month is $69 a month. That's what I normally charge. It's about $2 a day. That's a third of a coffee if you're a kami or herbal tea. And it's a very small investment if you see the value in what it will do and transform your life. I mean, I remember a couple of devotees I helped in Wellington, you know, because of where they were and how they were stuck and managing their morning programs and kid and their relationship, it was affecting their work. She wanted to quit her job. They're corporate working, both of them. But within 90 days, and I have a testimonial of them on my podcast that you can listen to, Shivani, how they turned their whole life around, and she managed to keep her job and keep going. And, you know, the value there, because I grew her, all areas of her life changed. So, you know, just the mindset side of things alone, access to, you know, have a, you know, one of the coaching calls, we work on mindsets, the group coaching, the access to expertise. And so I have some exclusive podcasts for the thriveinbhakti members only. So it's a bit small. I can see trying to read it. You know, that's worth about, you know, at least 140, $50 a month. The goal setting side of things, access again, and you have 2 live coaching calls. I have PDF, all those templates that I give, the tracking sheets, resources, and also the accountability. I show up every day for you. I'm not some person who's going to take a back seat. I show up every day on a video, and I talk to the whole group every day, no matter whether I'm, you know, unless I'm in hospital or my wife's giving birth or something. I show up. I'm not one of these. I lead by example. I do all these things you're doing. There's a lot of programs out there, people coaching, and they're hypocrites. They don't do what they say they're doing. It's just all info, you know, it's all an idea. But I show up every day, and you can ask anyone in the program. So I give you a coaching call every day. I give a 1-2 minute video. I know that I check in on what you're writing. I monitor you a little bit, and I put in things to help you specifically. And when I jump on those coaching calls with you, I know what's going on with most of you. And I help you get your thinking in that right as well. And I'm also very vulnerable. I tell you what's going on with me. I may be running the program, but I have stuff happen. I'm not a perfect devotee by any stretch, but I'm just not in an illusion that I'm not. So I share my struggles too. It's a really, really earthy program. There's no sort of show and, oh, Prabhuji. No, it's just me showing up, you show up. We're just ground level troops on the ground, and we're just bettering ourselves without any gloss. Okay. And, you know, it's just us together. So I show up every day. You get access to that WhatsApp group. And my wife also has some great journals. And if you want some of her journals, she's got discounts for you as well. So, yeah, I mean, in total, sorry, this one here. Yeah, here. Yeah, it's about $500 a month if you took that up in a traditional sense. And in fact, today, as I'm relaunching, because I had a concussion a couple of years ago, the thriveinbhakti took a back seat. I've just been working with my main beta group, my first group. I'm actually going to reduce it. I'm actually going to do it for $49 US. It's about $80 a month in New Zealand money, I think. I haven't checked. So yeah, so if anyone signs up today from, you know, wants to join, I'm willing to do it for almost very little, because I do need to see that people to commit and have value and see that it's an investment. So again, a fixed mindset person on this call is going, oh, why do I have to spend money? And behind that statement is, am I worth it? Is it worth spending time in a program and putting my money in to invest in myself? So a growth mindset, this is an investment in you. What this can do in investing in you as a person, it will really change. So if you are, I'll share in the chat the link if you want to join. You know, I'll put it up there now. Or you can just put yes. There's actually, because there's not many people here, it's not going to be that hard to know because there's 4. But I will be sending the replay out to the group as well, and if they want to join, they can watch. So yeah, so just a final testimonial here. This is
Hi,
from
Krishna.
a
I've
mother.
been in the Thrive in Bhakti program for about 2 weeks. I'm finding it really helpful. It's helping me to achieve my daily goals with the accountability, checking in the morning and in the night. I really like that way Vajrasena Prabhu puts it, that you wake up in the morning and you say, Krishna, here I am, here's my goals. I'm doing this, I'm showing up for you, I'm showing up for me. And I think that that's really powerful. The other thing I'm enjoying is the momentum from the consistency. It's helping me change the structure of my day. So often I might not achieve the small things I wanted to do before I started the Thrive in Bhakti, and that would put me off for perhaps a few days before I gained the feeling to do it again. But with this, it's not about feeling, it's just about breaking it down and doing small consistent steps to achieve it. So it's really helping me align with who I want to be and where I want to be. So if you're thinking about joining, don't think about it, just do it, trust me. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so it's awesome. She's single mum, raising her kids. And she's not in the program anymore. She did it for a year or two, and then she's grown herself, and now she's self-applying those things. And I meet her regularly at the temple and stuff, and she's always very, very grateful. So yeah, and the great thing is, there's 30 days. You can just do it for 30 days. You sign up, and if you don't like it, don't like it. There's no risk at all. You can just try it for 30 days. That will just be coming on the group and getting used to that and coming to a couple of coaching calls and get a feel for it. And you can just find out. And if not, you've got a 30-day money back guarantee. No questions. You just say, no, I don't want to do it. Don't have to make it, so that's enticing. Makes it easy. It's a win-win.